Well, I think it's time to get started. Hey, Kevin. Hey, Richard. How about making the first laps down the racetrack for the weekend? Well, sure. We got one red, one green, and a whole lot of hieroglyphs. $10.87 for Kevin Stubbs, $10.85 for Richard Sperry. For those of you that think life is rosy up here in the tower, you ought to see my screen right now. If I had studied Egyptian hieroglyphics in high school, college, and for a master's, I could not figure out what I'm looking at. I mean, that's just being blunt. At 135 miles an hour. Udom goes through 10.95 at $1.43. Ship's best appearing, Chevy 2 over here on the right-hand side. Those of you listening in and looking in on D3 TV, are they seeing this script? They are, okay. Yeah. Please call BR549 with your translation to what we see. Ship's Chevy 2, 19 on the tree, 1071 down track, 1087 at $1.35 for the Mustang, and I do believe that's the lawyer from here in Bowling Green driving that Mustang. Is that correct? I think I'm correct. Nitro Joe, good morning, Nitro. I got my stats. Thank you, sir. They're on the computer in front of me and printed out to the left of me and book to the right of me. Sounds like a song. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with, well, anyway. But again, welcome to everybody on D3 TV. Oh, look at that. Woohoo! Egyptian hieroglyphics have been replaced by the English language. I love it. A lot to be said for being able to read what's on the screen in front of you. Scott Sadler's 78 Malibu rolling in. Terrence up in the deuce. Third generation 1970 edition over here on the right-hand side. Little motor for the Nova. Big motor for the Boo. By Terry Terrence, 28 miles an hour. Hope he signed up. This number could certainly be a player. Scott Sattler, 1083 at $1.39. Bullsang up, the Looney Tunes. Chevy 2. Brian Shockley up in his first generation Camaro. They're coming up from the Volunteer State of Tennessee. At least that's what they tell me. The great state of Tennessee. All I know is I land there and drive. Brian's decent on the tree. Runs 1091.5 at 120. 1085, 95 miles an hour for Nick. Nick's having conjunctive numbers issues down there because one doesn't go along with the other. 1085 at 95 miles an hour. They do, the rating at D4 champ, coming up from League City, Texas, down to Houston, what? A little megalopolis of 6 million plus people down there. Which right now, I do believe, has got about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 too many still in Houston. I'll just let it go at that. Larry Radzipski out of Valparaiso, Indiana. Gotta wonder, does Larry use mailing labels? Larry Radzipski out of Valparaiso. I mean, you got basically every letter of the alphabet. You sit down to do invitations for a football barbecue. I certainly want to use mailing labels. 1087, 124 for Larry. 1094 by Ray Dew at 137. Hey, trust me, my last name's Unkelfer. I used to live in Independence, Missouri. That's a lot of writing. I use mailing labels as often as I could. Just one of those things that you think of. Rodney Boyd, Rudy Matthews. Mr. Rudy's been somewhat quiet this year. Couldn't think of any other name that used for a city in Ohio other than Ohio City. Rodney Boyd out of Mount Vernon. 1091, 128, 1085 by Rudy. Terry Terrence still leading the pack with a 1091-0. Rodney's in there with a 1091-3. Brian Shockley with a 1091-5. Ray Dew, believe it or not, 1094. Jim Unum at a 1095. All the runners in the 1090s. Greg Meyer rolls in the 62 Plymouth Fury. Checking the door. I think they're getting ready to call an Uber driver. All right, so it looks like we'll reload Jason and Craig. Yeah, bear with us just a moment. Like we need to get a fresh bag of peanuts out. Get Jason reloaded, get Craig reloaded. The scoreboards wouldn't clear. Now we're good to go. throttle stops, working. Bustling down a quarter mile. 1095, 137 for Craig. Jason's close. He's 1080. We're only looking for 1090s. 124 for Saturday. Barney Barnhart coming in. Getting the win up in Joliet. First out every morning and every round. Frank Jenkins alongside, the runner out of Ohio. Free Pontiac. Nice looking old Pontiac Le Mans. There's that Chevrolet underneath the hood. Do that back in 1963. Yeah. 1087, 138 for Frank and the Jets. 1083 by Barney Barnhart. They're on the Budweiser side at $1.44. Doug Wood and Kevin Thompson roll in. Oldsmobiles a pair. We still have only 6 cars in the 1090. Everybody else 1080s or better. 1087.9 or better, I guess I should say. Quicker. Not exactly the numbers you're looking for. Smoking Doug Wood getting ready to roll up. Thompson alongside number 59 and a 70 Oldsmobile. It's on the left side, the Cutlass F85 edition over here on the right-hand lane. Whoa, 1069, Kevin. I got 2 words, son. Throttle and stop. 120 miles an hour, 1096 by Doug Wood. In the 1090 range. Ken McNichol and Lou Murray. Murray rolling in. The twice leaving Chevrolet Camaro. Those of you in the grandstands, watch the Camaro on the right-hand side. It's going to come off the line. Looks like it dives. We're going to do a second little wheel stand and head for the other end of the ring. And away we go. It works for him. Works quite well for him. 1092, 153. 1086 and 127 for Ken McNichol. Got to come up with a name for that car. Dooley Murray. Got to come up with something a little bit more than that. Bob Schmidt, Grove City, Ohio, a little 67 Chevy 2. Squires on the right-hand side. The difference between a Squires goes 1098 at $1.30. 1094 for Bob Schmidt. 43 miles an hour. Well, Super Street just for the diversity. I mean, we've always got the ever popular Camaros and Novas. How about a shoebox Chevy up alongside the pickup? It is a big block pickup, by the way. Not another cubic inch big motor Chevrolet. Tony Brown out of Texas driving the Manpower. Shoebox Chevrolet. Here comes Tony. 1086, 144, 1113 by Todd. 7 miles an hour by Tom and Michael. 44 miles an hour. I'd like to get passed by a shoebox Chevrolet going 35 miles an hour faster. You can hear the horn now. Meep, meep. Chuck Aldrich out of Fayetteville. Up in the Camaro. Still waiting on the El Camino here on the left-hand side. Camino finally able to get the burnout completed. Diversity in the category. Shoebox, Chevys, big pickups, El Camino. Old Vegas, 32 Ford Victoria. Put a motor in it, get it to run 1090. Super Street's all about it. 1096, 141 for the El Camino. Aldridge has got problems. He's going to coast across 58 miles an hour. Chevy 2 rolling in next. Jeremy Schell out of Lawrenceburg. Brad Funderburk out of Tallahassee. Toe up from down there where them boys play a whole lot of football. They call the team the Crimson Tide or something like that. Big wheels up launching here. All right, let's get it going. Keep going. Stock Eliminator needs you to lanes, please. Stock Eliminator. How about Brian Funderburk? 005 on the tree, dead on 7. Hope he signed up to play in the Draw and Races for Prize Super Shootout. If he didn't, he's going to be kicking himself. 1089 on the Budweiser side and $1.35. Jerry Rosenmeyer rolls in his Camaro. And speaking of 32 Ford Vicky, Ken Holmwick out of St. Paul, Minnesota. Probably a little bit warmer here today than it is in St. Paul. Of course, looking at the radar screen, it's a whole lot drier here today than it is in St. Paul. In many facets. Stock Eliminator to the lanes, please. Stockers, come on down. Stock Eliminator. Lanes, please. Jerry Rosenmeyer, 003 on the wrong side of GREEN. 1086 and $1.40 by Jerry. 1087 by Dan. Brian Funderburk leading the way at a 10.907. Still amazingly, only 12 cars in the 1090 rate. On that Raceway. Glass out of Hopkins. Guppy out of Shelbyville. Lots of bills. Wonder if Corolla DeVille is in that. 1091 at 130 for Tracy. Should put him or her in the mix. 1082 to $1.28 there in the Bud lane. About a candy apple red. Bulls Achieva. Lee Popple out of Odom, Georgia. Bitsy Satterley up on the left-hand side. $10.82 by Leland, 141 miles an hour. How about 1091 for Satterley? 1091, 132. Put Bitsy in the number 6 qualifying spot. Ray Dew right now is 1094. The 8th quickest for our super shootout. Matt Ball up in the truck. Wade Steinbeck out of O'Fallon up in the Chuckerberger 57 Chevrolet. Another shoebox Chevy. And Stock Eliminator needs you to lanes, please. Stockers to the lanes. Come on down. Stock. Need you lanes, please. Lane. Next time when you order your morning coffee, do not order the decaffeinated. 1086, 132 by Steinbeck. 10906, Matt Baldwin. About a 17 package for Matt. 10906, 11 on the tree. He signed up for the draw and Races for Christ. Super shootout, I'm pretty sure he did. Jurassic. Leary, Ohio, up in the little small block power. Ford Mustang. Yep, it's a Ford Olay. Tony Tanner out of Kentucky. Another small block. Jake side, 10:47 by Tony. Tony, congratulations. Low ET in the session. Oh, wait a minute. Everybody's supposed to run 1090. Okay. 1092 by Jurassic in the Mustang. Ray Miller up in the Monza. There's Monza. Yeah, Super Street low qualifier pays absolutely nothing other than the wrath of the announcer for the rest of the session. Zach That's a way to get your blood flowing in the morning. Stand it up, check out the sky overhead. Back running 10:903, 009 on the tree, 12 pack. That'll put Zach in. Ray Miller goes 10:97, 143. Hey, Ray Dew, you got bumped out. Blake Richardson up in the truck. Jerry Bledsoe up in the Valiant, 65 edition. Look at the Valiant, little 340 combination. Put the mufflers on that puppy, pull the decals off, let's go cruising. Might need a license plate on it. Yeah, we can borrow one. I say that, my phone goes off. Somebody must agree with me. Jerry goes 1081 to 129. Certainly no 1047, but hey, you know, Blake's got problems. The truck is going to cruise on through. 17 seconds and 60 miles an hour later, he gets to the other end of the quarter mile. We're still waiting to get to the far end of the area so he can make the turnout. We have faith that he'll do it. Pontiac Trans Am up on the left, Ronnie Maggard on the right. Trans Am, a late arrival out of D2. Rolling in, no tech information yet in the database. For the Bird. Bird is the word. 1088, 9 at 136. 1082, 149 by Maggard. 1047, but you know. Val Harmon rolls in, former Division 4 champ, a runner out of Louisiana. Mark Stevenson out of Alabama. Southern boys coming up to Bowling Green to size each other up here in this round of qualifying, time round. Right now you want to get into the show, 1091.9. Tracy Satterley's 1091.9. Tracy Guffey, 1091.5. Drowsy, Blue Bob Schmidt, thanks for Warren is in debt indeed. Chevrolet Camaro. 001 on the tree, 1092. Close, but no cigar. 1093 by Val at 151. As I just said, close, but no cigar. Stock Eliminator, need your lanes, please. Stockers. Stock Eliminator. Stage your lanes, please. Come one and come all. Stock Eliminator. Crop Bell. Jeremy Mason. Jeremy up. Big block. I do mean but large. 598 cubic inch, 69 Camaro for the engineer out of Kentucky. Crop Bell wheeling the Little Vegas out of the Buckeye State. Rob depositing a few pieces of Kentucky landscape out there. Cropfeld 1093, 131. How about Jeremy Mason? 10.666. Certainly not a 1047, but hey, you know, he's giving it a run for the money. 140 6 miles an hour. Diddy Napier up in the Vega. Mike Ramlin is on the deck lid of Mike's Malibu. I win because you, well, don't race very well. It's not exactly what it says. I'm just, paraphrasing. Bramlage hailing from maybe Michigan. Well, it may be or it may not be, but hey, I'm telling you, some of these days, if I look at some of these town names, I'm like, Professor Peabody Insurance. Was it because was already taken? Maybe. 77, 138 by Grambling, 1099 for Diddy Napier at 138 miles an hour. But bump. Alex Miller up now, another Monza, this time another Ohio-based Monza. Michelle is here. Young lady out of Virginia. With a deal in her 68 Ohio. Throttle stop car. He tells me Michelle's not going for low EQ. Probably not going to run a 1047. Nope, 1092. 139. Close, but thanks for playing. 1087, 142 for Alex Miller and the Monza. Stockers, need you to lanes, please. Stock Eliminator, stage and lanes. If you're not there yet, Stock Eliminator, need you to lanes, please. Including those 4 of you down in Texas that are listening in that should be here. Jimmy Hinkle right side and Phil Smida left. I'm not going to let that go. Phil, 01 on the wrong side. That's close. Hinkle. Coming. 1087 for the deuce. Smida, 10.910 at 148 miles an hour. That'll throw Phil in the mix in that number 5 spot. Tracy Guffey, you want in? 1091.5 or better to be part of the drawn Racers for Christ Super Shootout. 10.915. 3 cars with 1090s, 2 1091.0, 91.3, 2 91.5s. 56 cars down the racetrack. Here's Chris Runnell. Up in this little S10. This is a neat truck. Clean, neat, nice piece out of Tennessee. Bethany Crick out of Nortonville. That young Bethany yesterday. Check line. Just a tad early. Some problems back in the staging lanes. Wouldn't quite fire. Runs 1095 here at 100 or at 81 miles an hour. 1090 to buck 34 by Runnell. 0.907. Put Chris into number 4 spot. Ryan Shockley's 1091.5 just now becomes the bump for the 8-car show. Tracy Guffey just got bumped out. Gary Whitefoot and High Gear Harem. High Gear Harem. Wheeling and dealing. Bayou Boys. Chevy 2. High Gear 1085, 146, 1070 by Whitefoot. That's certainly not a 1047 lap, but he's giving it a run. All right, Super Street, round number 1 in the books for qualifying. 1091.5 to get into the drawn Racers for Christ Super Shootout. Little starting line prep down there before we roll on into Stock Eliminator. Defending champ, going to be a part of our first pair out. Should be a fleet of stockers here this weekend. Contestants from all around the countryside. Again, welcome to everybody listening in on D3 TV. Warren says hello. Ron says hello. I say hello. Hello. Glad to have you all in the house, or at least tuned in. Joe's not here. He's listening at home in the basement. Wonder if he's got Miss Kitty with him. Miss Kitty was certainly helping him with stats yesterday. Johnny Osborne and Adam Davis going to be our first pair out. Got him on the right side, your defending champ wheeling that 73 Pontiac Formula. You ran Mitch Truman last year in the final. Understand Mitch is not going to be with us this weekend. Mitch has had a un-Mitch-like year. New Bomb Turk isn't turkey. So they decided to stay home. R&R, take the dog to the lake, and listen in on D3 TV. Hit 87 by Osborne at 120 in his C-Stock automatic. Adam goes 1130 at 104. Davis 69 under, John at 52 under. For those of you listening in around the countryside, it is a mostly sunny sky. Got a few high clouds out there. That what's the word I really want to find that defines the relative humidity? It sucks. Humidity sucks. It is humid here this week. Brad Ford and Nick Hutton working their way down. Brad wheeling his D-Stock automatic Camaro. 11:13 at 102, 12:52 by Nick. 104 miles an hour. 3 under by Nick. 41 under by Brad. And Jimmy Gallagher, M6. 283, 65 Chevelle. Born out of Greenbrier, Tennessee, up in the 66 Fairlane. That's the stock automatic runner. 390 combination over here on the right hand side. 283 4-speed, 65 Chevelle. Wheels up for the Ford. Red light for the Chevy. All about qualifying right now. Up at 12-117 by Warren into Fairlane. 12:38-106. Warren's 72 under the index. Jimmy Garrett's Chevrolet at 46 under. Nick Ryder and Gail Pinkston. I want to say hello to everybody that is hard at work this morning. Again, D3 TV. Right. Get lots done. Gail Pinkston, right side. G-Stock automatic. Nick Ryder, D-Stock automatic. The runner out of Pennsylvania. At Keystone State. 1086, 120 by Nick, 1149, 113 by Gale. Ryder's 68 under, Pinkston's 50 under. George Warren still leading the pack at 72. Harry Russell out of East Sparta, Ohio. 73-year-old youngster wheeling that 350 4-speed Camaro. Bill McClister out of Texas. In his E-Stock automatic. Pontiac GTO. Gorgeous automobile. Yeah, from Pennsylvania. Formerly housed. Jack not going to be with us this weekend. He is participating in a Chevy show with his Copo Camaro. 11 flat. 119 by Gary Russell. Blister's got problems, the poncho. Didn't have enough cowboys chasing it down the racetrack. The Indian just didn't get there. 17:29 at 43 miles an hour. Russell, 64 under the index. Leonard Mattingly and Ricky Winchester. Chester up in the Corvette. Runner out of Ohio. Stock automatic, small block Corvette. Mattingly up in his A stock automatic. That's one powered to Pontiac Bird. At 37, 128 for Mattingly, 21, 117 for Winchester. Rick at 78 under the index. By the way, all of this is very unofficial as far as qualifying is concerned. To make sure that we've got everybody entered into the correct category here at Stock Eliminator. The cars move around a little bit, like Mike Robinson. J Stock automatic, 78 Corvette. Tom Russell, T-Stick, 350 LT1 powered. 98 Camaro there on the left-hand side. Double check everybody's tech cards as they make their way from the tech trailer up here to the tower. Stay on top of them as much as possible. Sometimes we get somebody to change it. 1034, 126. Russell's 85 under. That's good for the number one spot now. Robinson 24 under the index. Donnie Beeler. 327, 4-speed Parsons and Myers power. 7 Camaro on the left-hand side. And Vern Buchanan. One of those runners. G-Stock automatic sometimes. H-Stock automatic sometimes. He comes up on the street G. Got G on the car this week. Runner out of Conway, Arkansas. A lot of them big yellow buses down there in Conway, or at least used to. 11:26, 117 by Vern. 10:93 by Beeler, excuse me. 10:96 under for Donnie. Unofficially now number 1. Vern Buchanan unofficially number 4. 73 under the index. Gary Summers up. One of those old Charlie Angels. Charlie's Angels? What would be the plural of Charlie's Angels? Charlie's Angelas? Anyway, he's got a 75 Mustang. Little Cobra 2. Down there on the left side. 302. Gary, but Farrah Fawcett look a lot better driving. Dan Condon on the right side. Yes, I know. Condon on the right side, the factory stock G Copo Camaro, 1055 at $126 for Daniel. 1361, 95 miles an hour. How about Summers? 78 under the index. That number. Yes, I know Farrah is no longer with us. I'm well aware of that fact. As any breathing gentleman over the age of 50 would well know, because we all had posters of Farrah taped to the bedroom wall at one point in time in the life. One particular poster. Yeah, that poster made her. MJ Quinn. Automatic. Beautiful Camaro for the runner out of Maine. Dennisville, Maine. 27. Welcome. Glad to have you. The community here is a little bit higher than they have in Maine. 10-12, 129 for Scott, 1168 for MJ. Gove goes 87 under the index. Unofficially, that's good for number 2. Mike Cotton and Ben Wenzel. Put up. Long-time campaign. 67 Chevrolet Camaro, low mileage, one-owner car. Wenzel bought that car brand new in 1967, proceeded to win the U.S. National. 4-speed machine for Ben and Dave and the rest of the kids. Alongside former Oklahomian, now Arizonian, the 12, 118 for Mike. Hit 57 for Winston. Hit 77 under. Mike 72 under the index. Interesting to see how qualifying goes here this weekend with the new format for the U.S. Nationals next weekend up in Indy. That's all I'm going to say about that. Tommy Turner on the left-hand side. Jeff Harrington out at Georgia. Short. 302 out of in the Cobra Jet goes 1037 at $1.14. 1188, 109 by Turner. Tommy at 81 under. Harrington at 57 under. Donnie Beeler still unofficially leading the pack. Jennifer McCormick up in the McCormick Motorsports Dodge Dakota. Martinsville, Indiana, the 83 Malibu wagon with 305 combination. The most colorful of Malibu wagons I've seen of late. $1178, 110 by Jennifer. 1307.99 by Robert. Jennifer's 86 under. Robert's, well, barely under. But he's on the sheet, that's the important part. Denny Hillman's 327. 4-speed. 67 Chevrolet Camaro convertible. Said it before, and I'll say it again. A car you should most generally find at a Russo and Steel or Barrett Jackson. High stock automatic. We're going 0 for 2 for on this pair. Whew. Then he had problems with the stick. Livingston's machine looks like it may have broke something in that left rear suspension. As it came off the line, and all of a sudden you saw a little smoke out of the left rear, and all of a sudden you saw the left rear of that 90 Camaro go squat. So John will probably be looking for some rear suspension parts or a welder at some point in time. Where's Cutting Head when you need him, right? Jimmy Hidalgo, country dog listening in down in Louisiana going, yep. So we'll clear those two Camaros off the line. Either one of them getting a good run in. Let's just put it at that. And he looks like he may need to do some linkage work. Livingston there on the other side may be doing some suspension. Disassembly, reassembly, and restructuring. Hopefully be able to get that taken care of. Kyle Ratcliffe, Tony Price getting ready to roll up next. Your defending U.S. Nationals champion over here on the right-hand side. Kyle headed back to Indy this year. Stock automatic, Pontiac Firebird. It's way down the racetrack now. Another LT1 combination. Ratcliffe goes cruising through. 1070 at 123. 1237 by Tony. Ratcliffe at 69 under the index. Tony at 32 under the index. Like a little starting line maintenance out there before we get ready to peel the next pair out. Get them ready to go. Stockers lined up along the tower side here. The beautiful Beech Bend Raceway Park. Again, glad to have everybody listening in. The Hall brothers down in Texas. Talked about Jimmy and Cooter down in Louisiana. Numerous others around the countryside and, well, they around the world listening in. Glad to have you all. Hope you have a very beneficial and bountiful day at work today. Getting everything accomplished that you're supposed to. Just make sure you keep that computer screen covered and the volume down at work. Don't want the boss to hear. I only say that because I know. Yeah. Red Man, are you supervising out there? He's supervising, okay. Tom Rambo and Ryan Rudrick getting ready to fire the next pairs. We continue on. Round number 1 of qualifying. Stockers coming at us. So far, looks like you got about 15 pair down the racetrack. Quick, do the math. That would be how many cars? Nope, you can't use Common Core. You'll still be calculating in September. 15 pair would be 30 cars. Thank you very much. School is back in session. Want to make sure everybody is staying on top of it. That's what that odor is. Warren took his shoes off. Woo! All righty, Tommy Rambo. Washington County Heights, Ohio. Name short enough, but I'd still use mailing. Do that or rubber stamp. G-Stock automatic. Camaro on the right-hand side for Mr. Rambo. Ryan Rudrick. Got the Dusty. 340 70 edition. One of these years, I'm going to find me a 340 Dusty Street. Or dark. Either way. Really kind of prefer it dark. 59 or 7. Yeah. I know. I got to win the lottery first. 11.19, $1.16 by Tom. 11.34 to 116 by Rudrick. Rambo's 80 under. Rudrick, where did I see Ryan end up? 35 under the index. Kevin Helms rolls in now, part of that Southland Dodge Mopar entourage. A fleet of race cars. Chuck Weber alongside. Captain Stock automatic. Kevin Helms, the 4-time world champion. 902, 148 by Kevin. 1092 by Chuck. Takes the New York-based Corvette down track. Imagine that. Kevin Helms going to the number 1 spot. 97 under the index. Weber right behind him, though. 92 under. That number 3 position. Jim Watson's little V-Stock automatic. 63 Chevy Nova. 194 cubic inch. Up the 8-stock automatic. 440 cubic inch CUDA. Something tells me that 440 cubic inch CUDA going to get there about a month and a half before that 194 cubic inch Chevy 2. 1023, 127 for Larry. 1491, 87 miles an hour for Jim. Larry is 76 under. Watson's 58 under the index. John Cooper out of LaPorte, Colorado. John showing up in his 64 Fairlane. Used to have an absolutely stunning 67 Fairlane. Cooper Auto Body up in Colorado. Tucker Wingo out of Springfield, Tennessee. A little 68 home over on the right-hand side. Another G-Stock automatic. $10.16 by Cooper, $129, $11.78 by Tucker. Cooper's 83 under the index. Tucker throws his ad into the ring. 38 cars down track so far, and they're still stacked up back in the lane. Matt Antrobius and Dave Walther. Walther rolling through the gears in that 69 Camaro, 1095 at 104. $32 under the index. Ronnie Charnes up in his V6 powered Malibu. And Walther up in his V8 powered Chevy Nova. $11.54 by Ryan, 112. $14.87 by Ronnie. Ronnie's 62 under. Walther's 45 under the index. 44 cars down track. Joey Martins rolls in, another stick shift machine. The big block 396 combination. And Billy Simsprot out of Ohio, another stick shift car. Time with a small block 283. Called the stick shift machine. Martin's Motors through 1026 to 129, 1171 by Simsprot. 12 miles an hour. Billy's 83 under the index. I'm changing my screen. M&M still leads the back. We have to go next door and inspect it. Mike Wolford out of Nashville on the right-hand side. 327 Chevy 2 with Jeff Tupac. What happened to the rose color challenge? Oh, you need to report back. Gotta get there in a hurry. Getting on, meanwhile, another stick shift machine. This time a 350 Corvette, 1065, 125 by Kenny. Niven coming, 1604. 80 miles an hour out of the range. 1,732 cars going faster than that, past me coming up from Nashville yesterday. Donnie Vaught and John Dorley. John out of Telluride. With the Dodge Challenger. There's a dusty road Challenger. Donnie Vaught out of Milton. 350. Stock automatic. John Dorley out of Telluride, Colorado. Remember being inside the M-Stock automatic Chevy. Coming down from kind of like dogs. Moving. Can't use all the letters that are in there. 11:13, 104 by Brina, 12:15 by Joe. 106 miles an hour. Brina's 56. Joe's 69. A little bit higher on the qualifying than the young lady is. Tommy Pettigrew. We're out of Gallatin, Tennessee. Left Tommy's post the other day online. Spent 8 hours behind the bar serving drinks to everybody. Went home at 2 o'clock in the morning. Ready to put the new converter in. Jerry Robillard. Toe up. Combination factory stock H challenge. Driving Dipsy Pendarvis' car, 1087 off the throttle, only 89 miles an hour. Pettigrew at 11:79 lap. Tommy's at 8,500. Right now, that's good for number 6. Drew Hill in the thick of the division points battle. Stock automatic, 350, 70 Camaro. Welcome. Row your own race car. 4-speed, 396, 68 Camaro. On the left hand. Walker goes through 11:04, 108, 1086 by Andrew. 108 miles an hour down at the other end of the racetrack. 006 on the tree, by the way. How about a pair of trucks? Andy Campbell and Dan Coble. 360 Dodge, 350 Chevy. $12.90 at 103 by Randy Campbell. $11.99 by Dan Colan. Campbell's 5,400. Dan's 35. Trailer, if you would, please. Fastback, though. Not that hard. That's for the day. All right, Jerry at 92 under the index. He throws his hat into that upper echelon of qualifying. Kevin Helms, Donnie Beeler, Jerry Bennett, Chuck Weber, Mark Poole, Scott Grove, Jennifer McCormick, and Tommy Pettigrew, the bartender. Round out the quick 8. Chris Butcher, Tim Lowe, sitting and waiting patiently. The farmer out of Macy's, or Macy. Macy's isn't into farming. They're into clothing and luggage, cookware. Thanksgiving parades is absolutely correct. We have a winner. Ding, 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 ding.